South of the border, outbreaks are getting so bad, the most populated state in the U.S., California, is shutting things down again. And it's a perilous situation right across the country. Yesterday alone, there were nearly 58,000 new cases in the U.S. And according to the New York Times, that's a 51% increase in the number of new cases from 2 weeks earlier. But with novel coronavirus cases surging, President Donald Trump is attacking one of the nation's top doctors rather than the virus itself. Jackson Proskow reports.
Florida is now the epicenter of the pandemic in the U.S. Today, Miami has a higher rate of COVID-19 cases per capita than New York City did at its peak. Deaths are rising here and in a majority of states. In Texas, they're building temporary morgues. California took the drastic step of closing all indoor venues, including restaurants and bars.
This is a new statewide action, effective today.
With the certainty of more grim days ahead, the White House has adopted a new coronavirus strategy: discredit the messenger, by going after the country's top infectious disease specialist, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
This is a really serious problem. It is truly historic. We haven't even begun to see the end of it yet.
Fauci has become more vocal in recent weeks. The Trump administration has responded by undermining his credibility.
Well, I think we are in a good place. I disagree with him. You know, Dr. Fauci said don't wear masks, and now he says wear them.
The White House now accuses Fauci of not being dire enough in his initial warnings.
I respect Dr. Fauci a lot, but Dr. Fauci is not 100% right.
Fauci's messages have followed the ever-evolving science. From the outset, he warned the situation could always change. 67% of Americans say they trust Dr. Fauci for accurate information about the pandemic, compared to just 26% who say they trust President Trump. Trump also retweeted a former game show host who accused the U.S. Centers for Disease Control of lying about the virus, claiming it's all about the election.
What are the consequences of discrediting scientists at a point like this?
When we discredit scientists, we undercut our own ability to be able to deal with the virus. This should not be political. Science, facts, data, that's not political, just like the virus is not political.
Tonight, there are signs that the White House may not be able to ignore the science or the reality much longer. California's two largest school districts now say they will not be able to resume in-person lessons as planned this fall. And in Miami, a top doctor there said the situation as it stands right now is comparable to Wuhan, China in March. Robin.
Jackson Proskow in Washington. There's a dire warning from the World Health Organization that people are getting mixed messages about COVID-19, and it's undermining efforts to stop further infections. The organization's director general says the virus is raging around the world and will get worse if countries don't stick to strict healthcare precautions.
Let me be blunt. Too many countries are headed in the wrong direction. The virus remains public enemy number one. But the actions of many governments and people do not reflect of this.
The WHO says there will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future, but there are ways to control the disease without shutting down our lives. They include reducing fatality and suppressing transmission and empowering communities to take their own measures. There are more than 13 million cases of COVID-19 around the world, and more than 500,000 people have died.